Hey bookworms, and welcome back to my channel. In this video, we're traveling to Bath, England to discover the Gothic world of Mary Shelley. We'll check out the House of Frankenstein, the world's first dedicated Mary Shelley attraction, and a really underrated gem in Bath. Frankenstein is one of my favorite classic novels. Mary Shelley wrote it when she was only 18 to 19 years old, and with it she literally invented the science fiction genre. That makes Mary Shelley a total badass by any measure. But the book is so much more than people realize. It raises philosophical questions like the meaning of life, the relationship between man and creator, the impacts of social ostracism, the role of education, and more. In the movies, we see the big green guy as the monster, but it's only when you read the book that you realize the true monster is Dr. Frankenstein. I could discuss this novel all day, but let's get back to Bath. When Mary Shelley was 18, she and her then-married lover, Percy Bysshe Shelley, were traveling in Europe with Lord Byron and some of his friends. They were staying in Geneva, Switzerland, and Byron set everyone a challenge. Who can come up with the best ghost story? Mary agonized over what to present until she came up with the idea of a mad scientist animating a corpse with electricity, and thus
Frankenstein was born.
Percy loved the concept and encouraged her to flesh it out into a novel. They retired to Bath for 5 months that year, partly to escape the scandal of Percy having impregnated her stepsister. During those 5 months in Bath, Mary turned her story into one of the most impactful and well-known novels in the English-speaking world. Side note, Mary and Percy led really fascinating and rather scandalous lives. I've actually written a blog post with some of the most astonishing facts about Mary Shelley, which I've linked down below, but let me know in the comments if you want me to make a YouTube video of it as well. For now, let's carry on. The House of Frankenstein is a relatively new attraction. It opened in Bath in 2021, and it's dedicated to all things Mary Shelley and her monstrous creation. It's actually just a couple of doors down from the famous Jane Austen Center. Located in a historic Georgian building, this place is packed with fascinating exhibits and displays, and it's honestly hard to pin down as just one thing. You'll learn about Mary Shelley's life, the writing of Frankenstein, and the impact this iconic novel has had on literature and popular culture. Plus, there's lots here to attract fans of the horror genre. You'll walk into the museum and buy your ticket if you haven't already gotten one online, then head upstairs and follow the skeleton footprints on the floor that guide you through the exhibits. This is a multi-sensory museum, so as you walk through, there's lots of spooky sound effects, and the exhibits emerge out of the walls and all around you. The first floor is dedicated to Mary Shelley's personal history, focusing on her time here in Bath. As you move on to the next floors, you'll see exhibits that focus on the writing of Frankenstein and its critical reception. You'll even get to push your way through some fleshy curtains and visit Dr. Frankenstein's lab to see a recreation of his creature. The museum actually worked with Millennium FX to create this because they wanted to show the creature as he's actually described in the books, not as how he's come to be known from movies and in popular culture. This is a really cool highlight of the museum, though it might be a little bit scary for children. The rest of the museum is dedicated to the pop culture takeover of Frankenstein and the many films, toys, and games that have been created rather loosely based on the book. You can see lots of vintage Frankenstein paraphernalia and even play a Frankenstein pinball machine. There's lots of interactive elements, and you can finish off on the top floor by sitting in an old-school cinema room and watching the very first black and white silent film adaptation of Frankenstein. Finally, make your way back down to the ground floor of the museum. From there, you have the option to visit the haunted basement, which is included in your ticket. This involves descending some dark stairs into a series of confined spaces with lightning effects, other scary sounds, character scarers, and more. Honestly, these kinds of things are not my bag. I did attempt it, but I didn't make it past the first room before I was back up those stairs. But if you like haunted houses, then this is a really cool part of the museum to see. Make sure you check out the gift shop, where you can buy a copy of Frankenstein or one of Mary Shelley's other novels, or an assortment of Frankenstein merchandise. That sums up a regular visit to Bath's House of Frankenstein, which I think is completely worthwhile. But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the other ways that you can visit and interact with this cool museum. They offer Frankenstein-themed escape rooms and escape games. They are both puzzle-solving experiences for small groups, and they last 45 minutes to an hour. For both of these, you'll have a costumed guide overseeing the game, and you'll be doing it in a dedicated space within the museum. I didn't get to do either of these myself because you need at least 2 people, but from the reviews I've read, they seem like they're really well done. You can also book your Bachelor or Bachelorette party at the House of Frankenstein. You'll get exclusive use of their Bloody Mary bar, get to visit the museum, and do one of the escape rooms or games. I think that could be a really fun idea if you're a horror lover and looking for something non-traditional to do for your hen do or stag night. And in October, they turn off the lights and host the House of Frankenstein After Dark experience. This also gets really good reviews. Basically, you go through the attraction in the pitch dark. There's an additional story element as you progress through the museum, and lots more costume characters and scares. It's definitely not my sort of thing, but the reviews on it are really good, and it's quickly becoming a popular Halloween attraction in the area. Here are some tips for visiting the House of Frankenstein in Bath. You'll save money and get a guaranteed entry time if you book ahead online. I've linked it down below in the video description. There's also no elevator in this historic building, so to visit you should have the ability to go up and down several narrow flights of stairs. It's a cashless museum, so make sure you have your credit card or a tap-to-pay system ready. And if you're a jumpy person or traveling with kids, you'll really want to carefully consider whether the museum and specifically the basement is the best fit for you, which is something only you can know. Overall, I'd say if you're a fan of Mary Shelley, Frankenstein, or just a good scare, the House of Frankenstein in Bath is totally worth a visit. It's a unique and immersive museum experience I really enjoyed exploring. In addition to this video, I've written up a complete blog post detailing my experience there, and I've linked that in the description as well. Let me know what other literary attractions you want to know about, and if you want me to do a YouTube video about the fascinating life of Mary Shelley. You'll find me at awellreadwanderer.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more literary adventures. See you next time.